One thing I realized about this trip is this could be a work trip or it could be like a pleasure trip. It's just been so long since I've been in DC. I think for sure I'm going to fly, get there Tuesday night, do the speech Wednesday. So Wednesday during the day is definitely pleasure. Thursday, I don't even know if I'm going to play poker on Thursday, but I will be playing Friday and Saturday. But it's interesting because it's going to be an enjoyable trip to just be by myself for the first couple of days. So it's a little different feeling. I think the last time I went on a trip just to enjoy myself, my wife and I think, went to Arizona for Valentine's Day as like another honeymoon, if you will. So apparently I'm at the 40th best restaurant in the United States called Il Canal. It's right next to my Georgetown accommodations. They have imported mozzarella de buffalo, mozzarella from the buffalo, so ends up being much creamier. When I lived in Italy for 4 years, this was like a staple. 90 minutes for a 29-mile drive. This, kids, is why I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, because 29 miles takes you about 30 minutes. Daddy needs some weed. So we're here at Maryland Live. It's starting to rain a little bit. Yeah. It's Tuesday night. I'm just gonna play for a little bit. Not too long. It's like 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that. I think it's 6:30 by the time I get in there. Just planning on playing till, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 4. We'll find out. Today is Wednesday. I'm pissed at myself. And last night I went to go play. I ended up losing about $2,000, $1,996, because $2 chips don't play. People want to talk about how great the PLO05 is here at Maryland Live. It's okay. It's better than most, when people are like, oh my God, the action is so great here. I got news for you, folks. The action is still better in PLO4. At least it was for a Tuesday night. But PLO5, the action, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bitter because I lost twice when I had the nuts with redraws and my opponents had worse redraws. For example, I have the nut straight with a nut straight redraw with a bigger flush redraw, and the guy hits his bottom full house. He has the nut straight with a 2-paired draw, and I even have a blocker too. Like, there's just nothing you can do about that. You just pay the chips and move on. So there is a lot of that. Not only that, but in PLO5, a lot of people are buying in for like $300 and trying to run it up. Versus PLO4, you're going to have a lot more people who are buying in for like $1,000, and they're just like, yep. So you end up getting much deeper stacks in PLO4. Now, given this is just a one-off scenario, obviously I'm going to go back this weekend. I don't care for PLO5 high compared to PLO4. It just has always, 100% of the time, been a tighter game than PLO4. And it was a tighter game. But, yeah. I know better than to play on a travel day. It's been 9 months since I played on a travel day. And for whatever stupid reason, I decided to play on a travel day. Probably because I'm by myself for the first time in over a year. And I was just like, oh, I'm just going to go check it out. Yeah, I checked it out for like 2.5 hours. Lost $2,000. It's just funny how, like, as humans, that you shouldn't, like, I know my habit. I shouldn't play on a travel day. Travel days are not profitable. They're literally the worst days for me to play on. Yet I did it. But we're going to go teach a class at Georgetown University. I'm going to go see the sights first because it's been years since I've been in Washington, D.C. This is pretty cool. Standing in the Washington Mall, if you will, or the monuments on one side. And Capitol Hill's right over there. I don't know. I'm kind of a government buff, so there's some church that appears to be the Smithsonian. Figured if I'm gonna go see my senator and tell him to ask Biden for a pardon for me, might as well get dressed up for it. So this is the gear I'm talking, the outfit I'm wearing for a speech at Georgetown University tonight. Or I shouldn't say speech, how to play poker. So it's pretty here. You know, I'm just gonna talk because as a vlogger, it's one of those things where I personally delete about 80 to 90% of the shit I record. Including something like that, because I'm trying to untangle my goddamn cord. But there we go. Figured if I'm gonna live stream, I might as well have my phone charging. But yeah, I don't know. I'm such a big government buff as far as I don't know. I think it's just pretty cool being in DC. It's been 25 years. And it's funny to think that, like, last time I was here 25 years ago, a lot's changed and not much has changed. You know, lots changed in the world. I'm a vlogger. We have cell phones. Everything's recorded. And not much has changed as far as the world still continues to go around in circles. I will tell you though, being here shortly after an election seems different. You know, there's this nice lady I met on the plane. She was just absolutely shocked of the election results. Now, I don't know if you guys follow me on X, but I've predicted the last 7 presidential elections now down to a T. When I say down to a T, in 2000, I predicted that the 2000 presidential election was going to come down to the state of Florida, and it was going to be decided by less than 10,000 votes. I told people that publicly. 2004, I knew Bush was going to get reelected because of the war. After 9/11, people don't tend to vote out the president after conflicts of international engagement. 2008 and 12, those were pretty easy ones. Those were Obama. 16, though, I actually predicted that Trump was going to win. Because I believed in the Gary Johnson vote. All those guys that Gary Johnson was polling around 9%. And I remember telling my brother, I said, all those guys who are going to vote for Johnson are going to go into the voting booth and vote for Trump. I said they can't stand. So they could have literally put anybody up against Trump that wasn't Hillary, and he would have lost. Like, so they could have put up Bernie Sanders. 2020, I predicted Biden would win, but there'd be an anomaly in mail-in ballots. This is pretty cool. Walking up to the Capitol building with the monument in the background. I don't know, makes me want to come back for Inauguration Day. Just to see 1 million people. I just like to experience that type of shit. You know, the one thing they're missing on the Washington Monument Park area, in between the Capitol building and that, is the Starbucks. No, I really shouldn't say that, but yeah, where does the guy go to get a cup of joe around here, eh? So maybe we'll pop in. We'll see. So there's 3 huge-ass buildings for senators and senator hearings and stuff like that. But keep in mind, there's only like 100 senators. 2 senators per state. These fucking buildings are huge. And you want to talk about government waste. Like, this one's 8 floors with a basement. The other one's 5 floors with a basement. The other one's like 6 floors. I don't know. It's a complex puzzle, but for 100 people, it seems excessive to me. But then again, they're making laws for the federal government, so what the fuck do I know? Well, I went to Stabenow's office. I went to Gary Peters' office. You know, it's funny. You'd think if you see a constituent in your office as you're walking out, you'd say something, but I suffer from TB. That's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that you have the whole fucking attitude of Washington, D.C. as people who are just like, yeah, you're just a fucking peon. You know, maybe this is my awakening moment. Maybe this is my aha. You came to Washington, you have all this nostalgia, you got a degree in politics, jerky, whatever. You see your fucking senator, you try getting a minute to talk to him, and you don't. It's unfortunate. You know, I'm walking in the tunnel that connects the Senate building to the Capitol Hill building. And, you know, after talking with the staffer, this just reminds me of an actor that I used to watch all the time by the name of Misha Collins. And, you know, it's pretty interesting. Misha Collins believed in getting involved in politics, if you will, and so that way he could promote and help great change. And I think one of the things he soon realized is, in order to create any kind of change, you're actually better off, instead of going to the government for help, going for non-profit organizations that will have a bigger and a substantial more impact on the world. I can't help but think with all the buildings and concrete that you might have been onto something there, you know? The bureaucracy is thick. It needs to be cut. Like, if you don't think the government's too fucking big, you need to come to Washington. I'm having a little bit of an epiphany that it's just too fucking big. It is. But this is pretty cool. They have like trains going back and forth underground. Let's see the Capitol building. So I recorded this on election night. I didn't know where I was going to put it in my vlog, but this is very appropriate. My buddy runs an organization called Defund Politics. Me, so PLO professor here. It's election night, and I'm normally not political at all, but I absolutely love what Nate started here. So just give us a quick minute or two. This is Life of a Grinder. Weird shit that you're going to follow with the professor, but if you're curious who Nate is, he was my lawyer's paralegal. So
I started this movement, basically defund politics, where instead of donating money to candidates, like if you want to donate, maybe max out your donation to $5. But if you're going to donate more, go donate to the actual cause that you want the candidates to change. So whatever that is, if you're about pro-life, then go help a single mom. You know, go help somebody.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So hope you all voted today. Peace. So, 25 years, you got to get a ticket now to get into the Library of Congress, apparently. I'm sure it's a free ticket, but it's just the way the government tracks more shit. More bureaucracy. Fun. Science is organized knowledge. Science was not applied during COVID, apparently. You know, last time I was in D.C., I said I was going to take a cab everywhere, which is probably a smart thing. It's like $16. Saves me 3 miles of walking. And, oh man, this is the money shot right here, people. Oh yeah, here we got the Lincoln Memorial right here. Oh man, like look at that. Capitol building, Washington Monument, reflecting pool. Oh yeah. World War II Memorial. Wow. It's kind of cool. It's the Washington Memorial behind me. And there's the Lincoln Memorial. It's interesting. Washington Memorial is like discolored. The bottom third. And then even like the bottom 4 rows. Interesting. Like disheartening. The White House is behind all these trees. I'm thinking this is the backside. Guess I've come this far. I'm gonna walk around to the front side and I don't know, see it. Wanted to get that shot, but it looks like they have an extra barricade or an extra wall to keep people out. It's fucking ironic. Probably the most disheartening part of the whole fucking trip. The White House is completely surrounded by these gates that are like way, way far away. Of course, they're doing construction, but even on the backside of the White House, like you can just barely get glimpses of it. And my guess is they're probably doing all this construction stuff for like the inauguration, or they're doing added security, or I have no idea. But this metal gate that they got around the White House that's on the inside, they're building a wooden gate around. I don't know. I just find it disheartening. That's all. This is like literally the best shot of the White House. Best glimpse of it, I guess. And I'm gonna walk over here, see if I can get another photo of it, but but yeah, you can get kind of a general idea. Like, you can't really see it. Oh well. Here at Ebbets Bar, they're really well known for their oysters. Really, really good. They actually have, I think, 4 or 6 different selections of oysters. And yeah, the reviews definitely speak for themselves. This is really, really good. So far the highlight of my day, but I'm sure it'll come later on tonight when I'm talking to those MBA students. So, oh, this was a much needed break. But yeah, these oysters, delicious. Absolutely beautiful. And a good drink selection too. They have 4 different bars in this place, at one at each corner. So I had some oysters at Ebbets Bar. Now, just getting ready for my speech. It's my presentation, if you will. Had a full sightseeing day in Washington, D.C., all to myself. And, you know, there's parts of the day that I like to reflect upon and look back on and dig a little deeper, if you will. And it's really interesting because I'm going to give a speech to a bunch of MBA students, people who are going to be in the finance world, Masters of Business Administration, stockbrokers, etc. I used to be in that world, finance and commerce. And you know, there's so many people here in DC, of course, that work for the government, work with the government, but it's one of those things that I find it ironic that I'm going to be giving a speech to MBA students, and here I am preaching about how money isn't important, but it's what I do for a living. when you play poker for a living, money just becomes a means to the end. And the end is more time off, more sightseeing, more enjoying life. The end is having a positive impact on people, you know? Like, putting all that money into Cam's career, Cam's songs. Honestly, if it takes me 10 years to make my money back, that's not a big deal, because the positive impact that'll have on people, honestly, is just far greater than what money can buy or provide in any direct means, you know? Music inspires people. Like, legit inspires people. It gives people, makes them feel uplifted. It gives them hope, makes them cry. And it's funny because I'm giving a speech, or giving a dissertation, or how to play No Limit Texas Hold'em tournament style, you know, to a bunch of MBA students, where money is going to be like one of the primary focuses. Pretty nice vantage point. Georgetown is a small campus, but you gotta figure it's smashed right into Washington, D.C., so everything is confined in spaces. I don't even know where the hell I parked, to be honest with you. I know I'm 8 minutes away. I should probably pin drop where I park before I go give my speech, so that way I can find parking. So again, Georgetown was great. Just get into my Airbnb, which is nice. There's this little jacuzzi in the backyard, but I will tell you that it is raining like crazy, and it is crazy cold outside, but I get this quaint little Airbnb in somebody's basement. Tiny, tiny bathroom, but again, perfect for what I need. I love that it says welcome to our home. We got the little fridge down here. So we don't have like a kitchen or anything, but we have a microwave and a fridge, a Keurig, curtains apparently. So a Keurig's a bonus. We do have some paper plates. So yeah, this is what it's like being on the road 210 days out of the year. You get different experiences, but I tell you what, even though it's 11:30 at night, I am so tired. I am so sore. Even though it's raining and like 40 degrees outside, I am from the north, so I'm gonna hop in this jacuzzi. So as I'm wrapping up my trip here to DC, you know, I got to play PLO5 here a couple of times. PLO5 live here at Maryland Live. And then I got to play PLO4 in Baltimore at the Horseshoe. And it was funny because PLO5, people, how they play it is PLO5 people play defensively, where PLO4 people play offensively. And everybody around here was like, oh, PLO5 is really good action around here, really good action. I mean, a little bit. It's better than PLO5 down in Hollywood, Hard Rock in Florida. I will admit that. But the one in Hollywood Hard Rock, again, the biggest difference, when you're playing PLO5, people are playing defensively. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't willing to just get it all in pre-flop with questionable hands. People who do understand the PLO5 game don't mind getting it all in pre-flop with hands like 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, double suited, and things of that nature. You know, and knowing that they're going to be up against some aces or some kings and things like that. But when I played PLO4, I only played it for, I want to say like 4 hours. And I think I saw Pocket Kings get it all in pre-flop 3 or 4 times. And I want to say 2 or 3 of the times it was good. Like, it wasn't always aces versus kings. And PLO4, again, is played more aggressively than PLO5. PLO5, people play on a defensive mode. PLO4, they're going for it, man. So that doesn't mean that people aren't going for it in PLO5. It just means more often or more frequently people in PLO4 will play more aggressively. And here's a perfect example. I had a hand where the flop was 7, 8, 9 in PLO4. I flopped a set of 8s. I had like 8, 8, jack something, like 8, 8, jack X. And sure, I had a straight draw, but I bet pot on the flop and I get called. turn comes a 4, which is basically a blank. I bet potting in on the turn and the guy tanks and then he eventually folds. But that's a move I would never make in PLO 5 because, I shouldn't say never, but it's a move that I would rarely make in PLO 5. One of the things I forgot to mention is that the Bad House has a huge special going on right now. They're doing 2 weeks worth of tournament series called the Winter Wonderland series. So the first tournament kicks off December 1st. So it's the first 2 weeks in December. $2 buy-in, 1K guarantee. That's huge. Also, I've made a deal, or I'm in the midst of making a deal with PP Poker to do a lot more tournament series like this, where we can eventually have some tournament satellites, and then hopefully, like, people who win those tournament satellites will all get to play in a live event. And we're working out some of the details on there, and that's going to be way down the road. But if you guys haven't checked out the Madhouse yet, the action is crazy. If you're a tournament player, it's something that the Bad House hasn't done yet. Also, the top 9 players are going to get entered into a free roll, $1,000 single table free roll. That'll pay out $1,000. So it's a great deal. Again, 2 weeks worth of tournaments. They're going to have some Hold'em tournaments. They're going to have some PLO tournaments. They're going to have a couple of rebuy tournaments, some with no rebuys or some with just rebuys and no add-ons. They have a special where if you order a hoodie, you get $100. And if you refer somebody that you know, you get a bonus 100 and they get 100. So right now, if you bring a friend along and you order a hoodie and they order a hoodie, you each get $200. It's a great way to try out the club, great way to try out a bunch of tournaments. If you wanted to practice some tournaments, this is a great opportunity to do that. Plus, you'll be able to play with yours truly, and I'm sure you'll be able to play with Donkfish, even though we're going to be in the WPT and at the Venetian at the time. The nice thing about Vegas is they do allow you to play on your phone while you're at the table at the same time. So that is something that I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on playing all those tournaments while I'm playing tournaments at the WPT. So hopefully I won't burn myself out. But if you guys want to play with me and practice some tournaments, you can definitely check that out. So I'm looking forward to going home. It's like 40 degrees out here in Georgetown. You can check out the live stream that I did. It broke up into 2 segments. So the first one is an hour and a half long, and then it cut out and I had to restart it. So the second one's 30 minutes. So I'm going to link those 2 down below. Also, if you want to order any shirts, like the 10 Commandments of Pot Limit Omaha, when in doubt, pot it out is obviously rule number 1, or don't pay the net. I'll give you the link for the Etsy store down below as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe. Please share this video. Wayne and I are going to be on the stream of the Venetian, and they're going to feature our game, or at least that's one of the goals that we're going to do next year. And I think it'll be great to do a 10-10 mix on a live stream, on the only live stream in Vegas. So definitely more details for that to come down the road. And I appreciate all of you guys, appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much. Play smart and run like a god.